What started as an ordinary day in the fields quickly turned into a battle for survival. Massive wild boars, faster and stronger than ever, were tearing through crops like unstoppable machines, leaving nothing but destruction behind. Farmers stood helpless, their hard work vanishing overnight, until one determined team stepped in to reclaim the land. What happened next was a tense, relentless hunt where precision and patience were the only things standing between order and chaos. The fields stretched endlessly before us, marked by deep scars left behind by herds of wild boars that had torn through crops night after night. The damage was staggering: corn flattened, roots ripped from the soil, and trails of destruction snaking across the land. Farmers, who had spent months nurturing their fields, now faced the harsh truth that their livelihoods were hanging by a thread. These creatures weren't just a nuisance anymore. They had become a threat to survival. That morning, we set out with one mission: to reclaim the fields and restore balance. The roads leading to the southern plains were rough, carved by years of heavy machinery and floods, but we pressed forward. From the back of the truck, I could already spot movement across the distant fields, shadows darting between the tall grass. As soon as the engine's echo reached them, the boars scattered, a dark mass of muscle and tusks slicing through the terrain. Leo steered sharply to the left, cutting the distance. I steadied my aim, took a deep breath, and fired. The echo rolled across the fields, followed by silence. It was the kind of silence that told us we had made the right start. We knew using the vehicle any longer would ruin our advantage. So, leaving it behind, we continued on foot, moving with care, boots sinking into the soft soil. Within minutes, the hounds picked up a scent. Their low growls turned into sharp barks, guiding us toward a cluster of bush near the stream. My pulse quickened. I crouched, sighted through the rifle, and waited for movement. A large figure broke through the brush, massive, powerful, and fast. I squeezed the trigger. The shot landed cleanly, and the beast dropped instantly. The first field was secure, but the night was far from over. To the west, Ethan's team had already located another herd moving along the ridge. Through his scope, he tracked their path with patience, timing his breath with the rhythm of their movement. Then came a single shot, sharp and precise. Another fell. The communication between our teams was flawless, a rhythm honed through dozens of hunts. When one group advanced, the other held back, always ensuring the boars had nowhere left to run. Moments later, the radio crackled. Another signal came through: fresh movement along the northern tree line. We regrouped quickly, forming a perimeter around the cornfield. The dogs barked wildly, their instincts razor-sharp, driving the boars toward open ground. Through the dust and noise, one particularly large animal burst into view, charging directly toward us. Leo didn't flinch. He steadied his rifle and fired at the exact moment it crossed the ridge. The beast collapsed mid-stride, sliding to a halt. The entire area fell quiet again, broken only by the panting of the hounds. But the hunt wasn't over. Reports came in from nearby farms that more herds had been sighted near the irrigation channels. We pressed on, moving through uneven ground and thick brush, guided only by the faint sound of running water. I spotted fresh prints in the mud-deep and wide, clear signs of a large boar. We advanced slowly, every step deliberate. The faint rustle of leaves ahead signaled movement. I raised my rifle, and the moment the creature appeared, I fired. The recoil jolted through me, and another threat was neutralized. Across the field, Ethan's voice came through again. He had cornered two smaller boars with his dogs. The barking and rustling merged into chaos for a few seconds, and then silence. He confirmed both targets were down. The teamwork was seamless, the execution precise. Every action, every decision had a purpose. This wasn't about the thrill of the hunt. It was about restoring safety to a community that, depended on these fields to survive. By afternoon, the sun blazed high overhead, and the smell of churned earth filled the air. We paused briefly near a ridge overlooking the valley. From here, we could see the scale of the problem, hundreds of acres scarred by rooting and digging. But even as exhaustion crept in, there was no time to stop. We moved to the next zone, where reports indicated a small herd had taken shelter near the tall sugarcane. The dense stalks made it difficult to see, so the dogs were sent in first. Seconds later, chaos erupted. The cane shook violently, and the sound of hooves thundered through the air. I aimed toward the movement and fired twice. 2 sharp cracks echoed, followed by heavy thuds. The dogs barked triumphantly. Another area secured. Meanwhile, on the far side of the fields, Leo and Ethan coordinated a pincer move. The boars tried to escape through a narrow passage by the old fence line, but they never stood a chance. The shots came in rapid bursts, measured, controlled, and effective. Within moments, the field fell quiet again. Only the wind moved through the grass now. As evening approached, the golden light stretched across the horizon, and fatigue began to set in. Yet, even then, we stayed alert. These animals were cunning and often returned under cover of dusk. While making our way back toward the vehicles, I noticed movement near the boundary wall. Through the fading light, a lone boar was visible, rummaging near the remains of a fallen corn stack. I steadied my aim one last time. The shot rang out, echoing softly through the valley. The figure dropped, motionless. The hunt was complete. Walking back, the quiet of the land felt heavier now, but it was the kind of silence that brought relief. The farmers who had gathered near the village road greeted us with gratitude etched across their faces. They knew the danger wasn't gone forever, but for now, their fields were safe again. Every hunt came with its risks, but also with purpose. These animals weren't villains. They were simply acting on instinct. Our role was to maintain balance, to ensure survival on both sides. That night, as we packed our gear and loaded the rifles back into their cases, I looked out over the vast expanse of fields, now calm and still under the moonlight. For every shot fired, there was a reason, one rooted in necessity, not sport. The land had been reclaimed, at least for now. The battle between man and nature would continue, as it always had. But tonight, peace had returned to the soil. The next morning, as the villagers began to replant, laughter replaced the tension that had filled the air for weeks. The scars in the soil would heal, the crops would rise again, and life would continue. For us, this hunt wasn't about pride, it was about responsibility. Protecting the harvest meant protecting the future. And as long as these herds roamed, we'd be ready to stand guard once more. The fields might face chaos again someday, but each hunt reminded us of one simple truth. Balance must always be maintained. Nature gives, and sometimes it takes, but it's our job to make sure both sides endure. That's what this mission was about, not destruction, but preservation. And as the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, we knew we'd done just that.